Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal Part 292 to 293 based on novel. So let's start. This vast star system was filled with star fog. Although it seemed quiet, there was heavy killing intent within the fog. This was the rank 5 region of the Cloud Sea, and about 40% of the continents here belonged to sects. For the rank 1 to 4 regions, the rank 5 region was an unreachable existence. If someone from a rank 5 sect went to the rank 4 region, they would be welcomed with grandeur. At this moment in the rank 5 region, a whistling sound appeared in this calm fog. A ray of light flew within fog, and inside the light was a dragon-like spirit beast. There was a dignified cultivator standing on the head of this beast. The fog began churning even more intensely, and the surrounding beasts all scattered in fear. Several more rays of light passed by. This didn't end. In just 7 short minutes, no less than a dozen rays of light broke through the fog and quickly moved through the rank 5 region. There were various spirit beasts within those rays of light, and there was a cultivator standing on the back of each of these beasts. None of these cultivators belonged in the rank 5 region, all of them belonged to the rank 6 region. The appearance of these people shook the rank 5 region. This wasn't the only place. This happened in more than 6 places in the rank 5 region. These cultivators all had gloomy expressions, but they were hiding ecstasy and excitement along with endless greed. These cultivators that came from the rank 6 region all had the exact same goal, a wild continent in the rank 5 region. The ground in north of the continent Wang Lin was on continued to tremble as if something heavy was landing on the ground. The fog was being churned and pushed forward. Some bird-like beasts let out cries as they flew far away from the fog. On the ground, many more fierce beasts scattered. To them, the rumbling from the fog was extremely terrifying. A moment later, a giant figure more than 1,000 feet tall appeared in the fog. This figure was extremely sturdy, and when it got closer, it finally revealed itself. It was a huge black ape. There were bull-like beasts with red eyes chasing after the black ape. They churned the fog and kicked up a dust storm. Aside from these bull-like beasts, there were 7 more different kinds of beast herds. They were mixed together, forming a long line. It seemed like they were refusing to give up their pursuit of the black ape even if it meant death. In the sky, there were some bird beasts that were chasing like crazy. Anyone who saw this would feel their scalp go numb. Even powerful cultivators would be shocked because there were simply too many beasts. There were obviously some rank 5 beasts mixed in that threw spells at the black ape. However, the black ape was extremely flexible and had very thick skin, so it dodged many of the spells and those that landed on its body didn't have much effect. This black ape was running on the ground. The rumbling sound was the sound of the black ape's footstep. It moved very fast and created a powerful gust of wind as it ran. There was a mountain before it. As the ape ran, it mercilessly kicked off the ground, causing the earth to shatter. It directly jumped over the mountain and charged toward another mountain. In only a few breaths of time, it arrived at the top of the mountain. Several eagle-like beasts charged at the black ape. However, before they got close, they burst into a rain of blood as the black ape waved its arm. It seemed like no fierce beast could stop the black ape. It rampaged up the top of the mountain, and at the peak lay a nest. The black ape got close, then its hand directly smashed into the nest. There was a bang as the nest shattered into countless pieces, revealing a small patch of red grass growing there. The black ape's hand didn't stop. After destroying the nest, it directly grabbed the rock near the red grass and pulled it out. The black ape let out a roar filled with joy and then ran off into the distance. Those eagle-shaped beasts screamed and no less than 1,000 eagle beasts merged into the crazed beast tide and chased the black ape. The black ape crushed the rock in its hand, revealing the red grass, and tossed it over its shoulder. Wang Lin, who was sitting on the shoulder, grabbed it. After taking a look, he put it inside his storage space. Wang Lin gently patted the black ape's body. The black ape immediately felt it and let out another even more joyful roar. It seemed to move even faster. The earth shook. From afar, the black ape jumped up and down, kicking up dust everywhere. Behind it was the beast stampede that chased closely after the black ape. There were very few cultivators that dared to provoke the fierce beasts like this on a wild continent and stole herbs so arrogantly. The power of one beast might not be a threat, but once thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of beasts gathered, their combined power was enough to shock anyone. There were also cultivators from rank 5 sects watching from away. They stared at all of this like wooden chickens and were unable to utter a word. They were a group of 7 and were very cautious from the moment they arrived here, afraid of attracting too many beasts, so they naturally didn't get many herbs. When they saw how arrogant the black ape was, they were completely shocked. The black ape quickly ran, and with one jump, it crossed thousands of feet and arrived at another mountain. This mountain peak was like a sword and was extremely steep, but it was nothing to the black ape. After arriving at the mountain, the ape reached toward a bunch of mist flowers that were growing on the peak. It immediately took the flowers inside the fog. Just at this moment, a scream came from the sky. It was a rank 5 eagle beast that was almost 500 feet large charging at the ape. It was too fast, and in the blink of an eye, it was less than 1,000 feet away. Wang Lin's expression was neutral, as if he didn't even see it. The black ape's eyes narrowed as it grabbed the top of the mountain and swung its body over the top of the mountain. Its stout right foot immediately kicked the black eagle. The black eagle let out a painful cry and blood sprayed everywhere. The black ape didn't continue to fight, but borrowed the force to leap into the distance. Even more fierce beasts started chasing it. Shi Luoxing was sitting in the lotus position in a dark valley. His face was pale and there was dried blood on the corner of his mouth. His black hair was scattered and he was in a sorry state. A ghost-like howl continued to echo and whistle through the area. It didn't take long for 4 figures to stagger in, and when they got within 30 feet of Shi Luoxing, one of them coughed out a mouthful of blood. "Teacher, third brother died. We can't break out." These 5 were all youths, and their white robes were covered in blood marks. Shi Luoxing pondered. He didn't open his eyes, but sadness appeared on his face. He and his disciples were inside this valley that was filled with fog. Dead souls filled this fog, and outside the valley, there were 8 giant skulls floating there. Green lightning linked them together to form a formation. This formation was very intricate. It gathered the souls of those that died over the countless years on the wild continent. It then turned those souls into something tangible and used them to power this formation. These dead souls couldn't be refined into pills. Alchemy required the souls of living beast. A dead soul was mostly just a sliver of resentment formed at the moment of death that refused to dissipate. There was an old woman sitting on top one of the 8 skulls. This old woman was a bag of bones and hideous like an angry ghost. If a mortal saw her, they would be frightened to death. She opened her eyes, and her gaze revealed an eerie intent. "Fellow cultivator Shi, you only have 4 or your 19 disciples left. Why continue wasting their lives? If you hand that thing over, this old woman will leave immediately." A gloomy voice echoed throughout the valley and clearly entered the ears of these 5 people. The faces of the 4 youths were deathly pale as they silently looked at their master. "Shi Luoxing, it is not worth losing your life over some worldly possession. Although your cultivation level is high, you have been poisoned by my 5 poison sect's poison. If you use your full power anytime soon, you will definitely die. Consider it carefully." Shi Luoxing's face twitched as he slowly opened his eyes. They shined brightly, but there was a hint of bitterness on his face. He was the head disciple of the Clear Flow sect in the rank 6 region, and he was at the late stage of Nirvana Cleanser. After finding some clues, he secretly brought his disciples to the rank 3 region to search for something. He originally didn't think this clue was likely to be true, but he unexpectedly found that the clue was true and everything went smoothly. However, after finding the item, not only was his whereabouts exposed, but even the item he obtained became known. Afterward, he was besieged and lost countless disciples. He had even been affected by a strange poison and had to flee to this valley to expel the poison. However, before he could dispel the strange poison, he was caught by this old woman of the 5 poison sect. She had used her sect's formation to trap him inside the valley. He had already sent a message to his sect in secret, but it would take some time for help from his sect to arrive. "Fellow cultivator Shi, even if your Clear Flower sect sends people, it will be useless. According to what this old woman knows, within the rank 6 domain, aside from my 5 poison sect, the Mountain Peak Spirit sect, the Tao Spell sect, the Escape sect, and the Devil Collection sect all came and are after the things in your hand. The Jade of the rank 8 Heaven Breaking sect and the legendary pill recipe of a Nirvana Void pill. Wang Lin had been on this wild continent for a while. Considering the matter at the Origin sect, he couldn't stay on this wild continent much longer. Although he wasn't afraid of the Purple Tao sect, if he wasn't there, the Origin sect would be wiped out with their present strength. If it was the past, Wang Lin wouldn't have cared, but since he had killed people of the Purple Tao sect, he was already involved in this matter. Moreover, that clever female cultivator, Lu Yanfei, had also respectfully gifted him an identity. Also, there was the clue of the extreme yin that he needed to obtain from the people of the Purple Tao sect. Therefore, Wang Lin decided to act arrogantly for once and used the black ape he had just tamed to rush into nest of these fierce beasts to steal the herbs by force. He allowed the army of the beasts to follow them. It has to be said that Wang Lin didn't think the black ape would be able to steal so well. It even seemed very used to this. This kind of proficiency obviously wasn't something learned overnight. After doing this for so long, it had become second nature. During these days, Wang Lin didn't even need to set a target. The ape was very familiar with this continent and moved like lightning. It would rush and take the herb and then run away without looking back. After each successful steal, the black ape couldn't help but let out a roar of excitement. It was as if it was very satisfied with its own behavior. What made Wang Lin smile wryly was that he vaguely felt like this black age was famous on this wild continent. It was very skilled at avoiding the beasts chasing it, as if it often did this. If these fierce beasts had only had their herbs stolen once, they wouldn't chase for several days without caring about exhaustion. There was a hint of madness and deep hatred in them. Wang Lin began to speculate that some of the herbs these fierce beasts were hiding didn't grow at the mountain peaks but in other places. Places that Wang Lin would need to spread out his divine sense to find. Otherwise, these places would be too difficult to discover with his eyes due to the fog. However, the black ape wasn't affected, as if it already knew where the herbs were hiding. It moved like lightning as it stole the herbs and left. It was as if the black ape had already been observing everything for a long time. During these days of looting, the black ape warmed up to Wang Lin. Sometimes it would look over its shoulder at Wang Lin as if it was looking at someone who was in the same trade. It was due to this finding that Wang Lin recalled the day he tamed the black ape. Even when he clearly revealed a stronger cultivation and injured the black ape, the ape wasn't willing to yield. Instead, its eyes were filled with hatred and unwillingness. It wasn't until the threat of death that it finally yielded. Presumably, this black ape that often stole others' herbs must have felt very complicated when it was robbed instead. However, there seems to be too many fierce beasts chasing us. Wang Lin sat on the back of the black ape and looked at the dust storm behind him. Angry roars constantly came from behind him and into his ears. He had already put the mosquito beasts in his storage space. The current situation wasn't suitable for the mosquito beasts to appear. There were simply too many fierce beasts chasing them, and many were beasts they didn't even steal form. The moment they saw the black ape, they joined the army pursuing the ape. From afar, it was impossible to see how many fierce beasts there were. You could only see a line of dust being kicked up, and the fierce beasts were determined to catch the black ape. The black ape turned a blind eye to all of this. As it ran, it would sometimes twist its body to avoid spells. There were a few occasions where it was pushed into a bad situation and it would roar repeatedly as if it was cursing. Wang Lin revealed a smile as his right hand reached at the void and opened his storage space. He took out a yellow talisman and placed it on the black ape's shoulder. In an instant, a yellow storm erupted around the black ape and it charged into the sky. The black ape's body trembled and its eyes filled with joy. Its speed suddenly increased, and it jumped into the air and landed before the beast army. However, it didn't immediately escape. It roared at the beast army. Then it rushed into the beast army, punching and kicking its way through before breaking out on the other side. The beasts all roared and became even more crazy. Seeing that the black ape was about to charge back in, Wang Lin frowned slightly and patted the black ape's shoulder. The black ape immediately stopped and began to run once more. Time slowly passed. Due to the black ape becoming faster, it became like a robber. It swept through every area that it knew had herbs and immediately left after taking them. The beast army behind Wang Lin gradually grew even larger. The earth trembled and the fog churned. After circling the wild continent, the black ape seemed unsatisfied. It charged toward the center of the continent with the beast army following it. Wang Lin calculated the time and didn't stop the black ape. During these days at the wild continent, Wang Lin gradually learned that there were fierce beasts of even higher rank inside. The black ape quickly rushed toward the center of the continent. There weren't many mountains here, and instead it was filled with valleys surrounded by hills. The valleys were mostly filled with fog, making it impossible to see inside, but there would usually be an eerie pressure coming from inside them. When the black ape charged into the valley, Wang Lin became serious. These valleys were too quiet with no roars of fierce beasts. Once the black ape entered, it was completely empty. It was as if all the fierce beasts here had disappeared. Wang Lin wasn't the only one puzzled, even the black ape slowed down. It stared ahead and didn't know if it could continue. Wang Lin pondered a bit and the earth began to tremble. The beast army had rushed into the central part of the continent and charged at the black ape. Wang Lin raised his head and his eyes lit up as he pointed forward. The black ape immediately began to rush forward. Under Wang Lin's command, the black beast didn't move fast and the beast army gradually caught up. It looked like this beast army was charging into these valleys under the command of the black ape. Time quickly passed. As the black ape moved through the valley, the beast army also rushed in. Just at his moment, Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. He stood up and stared ahead. At the same time, a gloomy voice came from ahead. The Five Poison sect has a matter to attend to here. Irrelevant people, quickly leave. The gloomy voice just had begun speaking when it turned into a cry. The voice obviously saw the endless army of fierce beasts that were chasing the black ape. At this moment, Wang Lin's divine sense also saw the 8 giant skulls outside the valley that were absorbing the dead souls and converting them into attacks. He also saw a withered old woman standing on one of the skulls. The old woman's pupils shrank. The fog here made it so she couldn't see very far and her divine sense was limited. However, the vibrations from the earth gradually grew stronger, and soon the endless beast wave entered the range of her divine sense. At this moment, she couldn't help but gasp. However, with her cultivation level, her intelligence was high. After seeing the black ape, she immediately realized that this large number of beasts was chasing the black ape and the white-haired cultivator on its shoulder. A hint of killing intent appeared in her eyes. She didn't believe this was a coincidence. Either it was the Clear Flower sect sending reinforcements or one of the other 6 sects had arrived early. They came so fast. The old man took a step forward and charged at the black ape. A poison mist began to spread out before her. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he immediately realized that he had accidentally entered a battle. These 8 skulls were obviously a formation to trap and kill a person or beast inside the valley. However, he didn't have time to explain. The old woman was too fast and the poison was already blowing this way, plus she had killing intent. Wang Lin jumped off the black ape and gave the black ape a command. The black ape silently changed directly forward at the 8 skulls around the valley. At the same time, Wang Lin's right hand formed a seal and pointed forward. Black wind immediately appeared and turned into black dragons that charged at the old woman. The old woman's cultivation level was the same as Song Wooder's, mid-stage Nirvana cleaner. However, her poison cultivation made her very powerful and far stronger than Song Wooder. Seeing the black wind closing in, she immediately formed a seal and spat out 3 mouthfuls of air. The first breath turned into red fog that quickly spread out. It collided with the black wind and a heaven-shaking rumble occurred. The second breath turned into black water that sprayed out like rain. It penetrated the red fog and charged straight at Wang Lin. Every drop of black water contained a strange poison. If just one drop landed, it would be enough to decay his flesh into a pool of blood. The third breath flashed 7 colors before it turned into a statue more than 1,000 feet tall. Poison King, please appear. Poison Spirit Seal. The old woman was vicious and immediately used her most powerful spell. The Poison King statue's eyes lit up. Then light that seemed corporeal shot out of them and formed a black mark before the statue. The moment the seal appeared, it charged at Wang Lin. If it landed on his body, on top of his flesh turning into a pool of blood, even his origin soul would instantly die from the poison. The old woman was extremely vicious. In order to take the Jade and Nirvana Void Pill recipe for herself, she had used her strongest spell to kill Wang Lin. She was even worried Wang Lin would dodge her spells, so she waved her sleeve and a small snake appeared like lightning. This small snake was her life-linked beast and was completely black. There was a small crown that looked like a rooster's comb on its head, and the moment it appeared, a fishy smell filled the area. However, this old woman had underestimated Wang Lin's black wind. Now that Wang Lin had reached the Nirvana Cleanser stage, the power of Bai Fen's spells began to show their true nature. More importantly, after the fortune Qing Lin had given him, Wang Lin gained a deep level of understanding of Bai Fan's spells. When the 5 black dragons collided with the red fog the old woman spat out, a thunderous rumble echoed. The 5 dragons roared, quickly tore through the red fog, and condensed into one. These 5 black dragons quickly fused and a powerful aura appeared. It quickly turned into a black spear. This spear wasn't real and was transparent, but the aura from it was heaven-shaking. The spear charged out. It ignored the black rain and poison seal and closed in on the old woman. All of this happened in a flash. Almost at the moment the old woman spat out the 3 breaths and took out the small snake, the black spear was less than 100 feet from her. A powerful, cold wind caused the old woman's expression to change greatly. The wrinkles on her face were pushed in by the wind and her pupils shrank as he quickly retreated. She didn't have time to control the spells attacking Wang Lin, and her hands quickly formed a seal. Black scales appeared over her wrinkly skin. At this moment, she didn't look human, but more like a humanoid beast. Killing intent flashed through Wang Lin's eyes and he floated in the air. The first thing that arrived was the seal formed by the gaze of the statue. It moved very fast and closed in on Wang Lin's chest. There wasn't time to dodge, but Wang Lin didn't intend to retreat. This old woman's cultivation level was slightly higher than Wang Lin's and her spells were far more powerful than Song Wuda's. Her attacks were vicious, but Wang Lin had killed his fair share of Nirvana Cleanser cultivators. The braver man wins on the narrow path. The moment the poison seal closed in, Wang Lin raised his right hand and pushed out. He was suddenly less than 7 inches from the poison seal. Just at this moment, Wang Lin's left hand pointed at the back of his right palm at a very fast speed. Every time he pointed, a thunderous roar would echo. All the origin energy within 10,000 feet was being controlled by a tyrannical method to gather into Wang Lin's fingertip and then go into his palm. Although this sounds slow, it only took an instant. The moment the poison closed in on Wang Lin's palm, an earth-shattering bang came from Wang Lin's palm and spread outwards. Under this impact, the black rain spat out by the old woman was no longer able to get close and was pushed away. It wasn't able to injure Wang Lin at all. This bang was louder than thunder and even began to echo as it spread across the continent. Even Wang Lin couldn't withstand this sound, and he couldn't help but take a few steps back. The poison seal trembled and countless cracks appeared on it before it shattered. The tyrannical origin energy from Wang Lin's palm pushed the shattered seal back and it landed on the chest of the statue. A black handprint appeared on the chest of the statue and 2 cracks began to spread across the statue. Then the statue shattered into pieces. Just at the moment, Wang Lin retreated a few steps. The small snake broke through the shockwave by force and charged at Wang Lin. It let out a hiss and spat out an extremely poisonous gas. Wang Lin's expression was gloomy as he reached at the void and opened his storage space. The silver female corpse walked out. Without the need for Wang Lin to give an order, the woman in silver rushed at the small snake. Wang Lin jumped over the woman in silver and the small snake and directly charged at the old woman. The old woman's expression changed greatly as she continued to run, trying to dodge the black spear. However, the black spear was locked onto her and moved faster and faster. It seemed like it was about to break the space here. After seeing Wang Lin walk out from her killing formation, her face became even more gloomy. She bit her tongue and was about to spit out more poison when killing intent flashed through Wang Lin's eyes and he pointed at her. Stop! Countless invisible threads suddenly appeared in the world and wrapped around her. The word stop caused her body to tremble violently. Green smoke came out from her mouth and she immediately began to scream. The mouthful of poison blood wasn't spat out and instead flowed down her throat. This blood contained poison that normally wouldn't harm her. However, it was interrupted just as she was about to use it and the stop spell had frozen her body. As she screamed, a large part of her body began to decay. Just at this moment, the black spear closed in and pierced through the old woman's chest. It didn't penetrate through her body but exploded. The old woman's screams suddenly stopped and her body collapsed into a pool of blood. Her weakened origin soul was about to escape when Wang Lin waved his sleeve and captured it. Although this battle was short, Wang Lin still felt lingering fear from how dangerous it was. This old woman's poison spells were enough to let her beat most people at the same cultivation level. Even people with higher cultivation levels would suffer from her poison if they weren't prepared. It was a very common thing for Wang Lin to kill people, but today's killing had happened for no reason. He didn't even know her, and if not for the fact that she tried to kill him, he wouldn't have killed her for no reason. The small snake that was battling the woman in silver suddenly trembled and became weaker after the old woman was caught. Soon, the woman in silver caught the snake. At this moment, the black ape had already bypassed the battlefield and entered the valley the 8 skulls were surrounding. The beast army charged into the valley. There were a ton of fierce beasts, and because the old woman was gone, the 8 skulls became unstable. The lightning connecting them all collapsed. Wang Lin looked at the black ape in the distance, and the black ape understood the order to keep running. The earth continued to vibrate as the beast army chased it through the valley. There were some fierce beasts that wanted to charge at Wang Lin, but after he waved his sleeve, all of them died. It didn't take long for all the fierce beasts to leave him and chase after the black ape. He could still see the dust storm being kicked up. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he stared at the 8 skulls that had become even more unstable, like they were going to collapse. Wang Lin took a closer look before moving next to one of the skulls and hitting it with his palm. The skull trembled and the ghostly light around it dissipated. It then shrank into a fist-sized grey skull and remained motionless. Wang Lin sealed the remaining 7 skulls the same way. These 8 skulls were clearly a set for a formation. Wang Lin didn't take them away, but sealed them, because he didn't know what was in the valley. His divine sense couldn't penetrate the fog. He cautiously entered the valley. It would only take a thought for the seal on the 8 skulls to dissipate and the siege from before to return. The valley wasn't very large. The first thing Wang Lin saw when he entered was a corpse. The corpse was rotting and he could only tell it was a male cultivator. There was a very unpleasant stench coming from the corpse. After frowning, Wang Lin walked forward and soon arrived at the center of the valley. His divine slowly spread out and he soon found a figure sitting there along with 4 corpses that had died from poison. "Thank you for saving me." A weak voice came from the person sitting there. Wang Lin's expression was calm as he slowly walked forward and clearly saw everything before him. The 4 corpses were all rotting. Their eyes were dark and there was a faint hint of confusion in them. The same foul smell was coming from their corpses as well. The person sitting there was a middle-aged man. His face was pale without any trace of blood and there was a black line between his eyebrows. Even his origin soul was on the verge of death. It seemed the poison inside him had developed too far. This wasn't an ordinary poison, but an extremely powerful poison. Late-stage Nirvana cleanser. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. A poison strong enough to kill a late-stage Nirvana cleanser cultivator was a match for the 7th heaven poison. Did fellow cultivator also come for the jade and pill recipe? I don't know what sect you're from, but I believe these 2 items are something you must obtain. Even if I don't give them to you, I believe you have a way of opening my storage space. Forget it, I'll let you have these 2 items, but please kill me so I can stop suffering from this 1,000 purple worm. There was bitterness on the middle-aged man's face as he pleaded. Wang Lin silently pondered as he looked at the 4 corpses on the ground and then at the middle-aged man before nodding. These 4 people were my disciples. In order to protect me, They were infected by the poison of that old woman from the 5 poison sect and died. There was sadness in the middle-aged man's eyes. These 4 were the last of his disciples. If not for this incident, they would have eventually become leaders in the sect. I can't use origin energy with this poison in my body, so lend me a trace of origin energy to open my storage space. I'll take out the jade and pill recipe for you, then you can let me die a quick death. For the sake of worldly possessions, I ended up like this and even involved my disciples. The bitterness on the middle-aged man's face became even stronger. Wang Lin still didn't say a word as he raised his right hand and pushed forward. A strand of origin energy shot out toward the middle-aged man. When it got within 3 inches of the middle-aged man, the origin energy suddenly changed. The moment it changed, Wang Lin's origin energy was no longer gentle. It contained the force of a mountain as it smashed into the middle-aged man. However, just as it was about to land, the middle-aged man suddenly raised his head and his face turned ferocious. A destructive aura was about to erupt from his body. Wang Lin's expression was still cold. After he sent out the origin energy, he opened his storage space and the iron sword swept forward. A ray of sword energy shot forward and the middle-aged man that was about to explode trembled. Blood appeared on his neck and then sprayed everywhere. What died wasn't just his body, but also his weakened origin soul. His eyes were open as he stared at Wang Lin, and his head fell off and rolled on the ground. His dim gaze was still ferocious. His trick before his death was not smart, but it was alluring for people who were after the jade and pill recipe. However, Wang Lin didn't know anything about them. More importantly, after Wang Lin entered the valley, he saw the first corpse and then the 4 corpses after. On the surface, they all looked the same, like they had died from the poison in their bodies. However, there were actually some subtle differences. Wang Lin was always cautious, so although the differences were small, he still saw them. The first corpse had really died from the poison in his body. The other 4 were not like this. They were killed first and then the poison in their bodies activated. The positions of the 4 bodies made Wang Lin speculate. These 4 people were apparently killed by the middle-aged man for some reason. They could have been his disciple as he said, or they could have been the old woman's disciples. In short, Wang Lin didn't want to know the karma behind all of this. He just knew that the middle-aged man was lying when he said he couldn't use origin energy. There must have been a reason for a person that was about to die to lie. Wang Lin didn't hesitate to kill a person like this. You were going to die either way in just a few days. Looking at the middle-aged man who had lost his head, the body quickly began to fester and his clothes shattered. Jade and pill recipe, Wang Lin began to ponder. The old man was besieging this middle-aged man must have been after the jade and recipe. What kind of jade and pill recipe would cause 2 Nirvana cleanser cultivators to fight to the death? It even made a mid-stage Nirvana cleanser cultivator dare to try to kill a late-stage Nirvana cleanser cultivator. His original intent was to die from self-destruction and then the opening of his storage space would dissipate. However, if one has a high enough cultivation level, it isn't difficult to take something out from the closed storage space. Also, from what he said just now, he obviously mistook me for a sect rather than just one person. Judging by this, the battle for the jade and recipe is a battle between sects. He said that his disciples were poisoned by the old poison woman of the 5 poison sect. The old woman I killed earlier must have been her. Also, that old poison woman immediately tried to kill me when I appeared. She must have determined I represented another sect. Most importantly, the old woman said something before attacking. Came so fast. Wang Lin suddenly looked up at the sky and his pupils shrank. Could it be that a large amount of cultivators from various sects are all coming here? If that's the case, then the value of the jade and pill recipe must be extremely high to cause a battle like this between sect. Wang Lin took a deep breath and his eyes shined. If 70% of my analyze is correct, then the middle-aged man must have been really concerned about the jade and pill recipe. Since he knew others could open his storage space, I fear he didn't place them inside it. Wang Lin looked around the valley before his gaze fell on the 4 corpses on the ground. His eyes narrowed. If I were him, what would I do if I encountered such a situation? Would I keep it in my storage space or hide it somewhere else? Wang Lin silently pondered and closed his eyes as he placed himself in the role of the middle-aged man. Shortly after, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes and his divine sense swept the corpses of the 4 disciples, but he found nothing. However, he wasn't willing to give up. A flame shot out of his left eye and surrounded the 4 corpses. The sound of fire crackling echoed in the valley. There was a powerful poison inside the corpses, and the fire gave off a ghostly glow. Soon, they were burned to ashes. However, there was a jade and a palm-sized animal bone fragment within the ashes. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a hint of excitement as his hand reached out and the jade and bone fragment flew into his hand. His divine sense checked the jade first, and his expression changed. Rank 8 Heaven-breaking sect. Wang Lin took a deep breath before he calmed himself down and looked at the beast bone fragment. Even with Wang Lin's mental fortitude, he couldn't help but feel his heart rate increase. His eyes were filled with disbelief as he looked at the beast bone fragment in his hand. He couldn't say a word for a long time. Nirvana. Nirvana void pill. Although he didn't know what a nirvana void pill was, he knew the weight of the words nirvana and void to the powerful cultivators. In particular, there was one sentence in this pill recipe that rang a bell in his mind. He held the beast bone fragment tightly in his hand and a monstrous killing intent appeared in his eyes. At this moment, if anyone tried to rob this fragment from him, they would receive Wang Lin's crazed attack. The person who takes this pill will have 10% chance of turning law into source origin and reaching what us cultivators call the 3rd step. The person who takes this pill have 50% chance of passing a heaven's blight. The person who takes this pill will have an 80% chance to enter the Sha realm. It took a long time for Wang Lin to recover his composure. He quickly put the jade and beast bone away in his storage space. He didn't have time to think of the details, but he was extremely sure that these things were enough to cause a calamity in the cultivation world. Right now, the news of this pill recipe hadn't spread too far, but as the battle for it continued, it would eventually shock the entire Cloud Sea. Wang Lin hadn't felt his throat get dry in a long time. He licked his lips as he carefully erased all traces of him and took the corpses of the middle-aged man and another person. After he made sure he had left no clues, Wang Lin flew out from the valley. Just as he was about to take them away, Wang Lin hesitated and decisively pointed at one of the skulls. The skull immediately collapsed and the shattered fragments fell inside and outside the valley. Wang Lin's eyes flashed and thoughts raced through his mind as he took the remaining 7 skulls. Then, after pondering a bit, he took out the corpse of the disciple and placed it back in its original location. Then he carefully cleaned up the skull fragments that fell both inside and outside the valley before leaving one piece behind in a very secretive place. After doing all of this, Wang Lin took a deep breath and put the silver female corpse away. He then turned into a ray of light and chased after the black ape. I have the origin soul of the old woman. I must not let her die. As long as she doesn't die, no one will know that an outsider joined in on this matter. They will all think the old woman obtained the pill recipe and went into hiding to keep it for herself. After all, there is still a fragment of the skulls she used inside the valley. There's also the corpse of the disciple that died from her poison. Time was of the essences as cultivators of various sects were coming to the wild continent. Wang Lin didn't dare to stay for too long and could only achieve something like this. He wasn't in the mood to steal any more herbs and quickly moved forward. Then he disappeared using spatial bending. When he reappeared, he was next to the escaping black ape. The moment the black ape saw Wang Lin, it became excited and excitedly pointed at various mountain peaks. It was obviously telling Wang Lin there were herbs there. Wang Lin didn't pay any attention. He took the yellow talisman off the black ape and put the giant ape in his storage space. Then he charged off into the sky, broke through the fog, and placed the yellow talisman on his body. He was still dissatisfied with his speed, so he took out the beast skin and put it on his body as well. As a result, Wang Lin's speed reached a peak as he pierced through the fog and left the wild continent. Even now, his heart was pounding as if he was in a dream. Everything that happened on this wild continent and what he obtained still felt unreal. After suppressing the excitement in his heart, Wang Lin clearly knew that if the information of the pill recipe was with him got out, then he would be subject to endless pursuit in the Cloud Sea star system. This would be the same even in the Alliance and All Heaven, because this recipe was enough to make some cultivators go crazy. In particular, those old monsters who were always in closed-door cultivation and had reached the peak of the Nirvana Shatterer stage and preparing for their Heaven's Blight would do anything for this pill recipe. I must not let anyone know this thing is in my hand. Wang Lin quickly moved through the rank 5 region, and he didn't dare to spread out his divine sense. Wang Lin had a feeling that there were many cultivators rushing toward that wild continent in the rank 5 region right now. If they met him, who was in a rush, they might suspect him. Although the suspicion wouldn't be big, once they saw what happened at the wild continent, they would recall anyone they found suspicious and focus on those people. The bigger the matter and more secrets you have to hide, the more calm you need to be. After charging out some distance, Wang Lin pulled out the giant black ape. He sat down on the shoulder of the giant black ape and ordered it to fly toward the continent of Mo Luo where the origin sect was. This place was still a few days away from the continent of Mo Luo, and despite his eagerness to leave, he remained calm as he sat on the giant black ape. He was like a true cultivator of the Cloud Sea. Several hours later, Wang Lin was already far from the wild continent. There were several other wild continents nearby, making it impossible for others to know which one Wang Lin had come from. Just at this moment, Wang Lin's calm pupils suddenly shrank but soon returned to normal. Rays of red light whistled through the star fog and got closer and closer. Part 293. Noble Money may seem like a very vulgar name, but in the rank 6 region, it represented the word ruthless. As an elder of the Clear Flower sect, he had reached the early stage of Nirvana Shatterer. He had shocking spells, and due to his personality, if you provoked him and lacked a powerful cultivation level or sect, then the only result was death. More than 1,000 years ago, a small sect of the rank 6 region actually killed one of his disciples. He slaughtered his way into the sect and completely destroyed the sect with some of his friends, leaving behind a bloodbath. This battle made him famous, and every sect in the rank 6 region learned of his name. At this moment, his expression was gloomy as he sat on the head of a python with dragon-shaped head. As the spirit beast moved through the rank 5 region, disciples of the Clear Flower sect followed him. I didn't think that clue would be true. Every time Noble Money thought of his matter, his heart beat faster. Several months ago, his Clear Flower sect accidentally found some clue related to the legendary Nirvana Void Pill and a jade that showed one how to become a core disciple of the Heaven-Breaking sect. As a native cultivator of the Cloud Sea, Noble Money obviously knew of the heaven-shaking event that occurred 18,000 years ago in the Cloud Sea. 18,000 years ago in the Cloud Sea, the Heaven-Breaking sect was a rank 8 sect ready to move into the mighty rank 9 region. 2 months before the move, they accidentally found a spatial crack, and it was filled with restrictions and danger. The Heaven-Breaking sect gathered large amounts of cultivators together to enter the crack, including elders that were at Heaven's Blight. They broke their way through and had countless casualties. In the end, they found a corpse in the depths of the spatial crack. There were 3 things next to the corpse: a pill, a broken sword, and a piece of beast bone. After obtaining the 3 items, the elders of the Heaven-Breaking sect went crazy and quickly left the spatial crack to return to the Heaven-Breaking sect. This was because their discovery was too incredible and could shock the entire Cloud Sea star system. It was possible for the Heaven-Breaking sect take over supremacy from the rank 9 God sect. However, they had a traitor in their midst, and the news got leaked out. What awaited them was the entire rank 8 region moving against them. Countless old monsters that rarely appeared all participated in this battle that made their eyes red. However, the Heaven-Breaking sect, which had the right to enter the rank 9 region, had the power to battle the entire rank 8 region. A bloodbath was created in the rank 8 region. The rank 7 region was affected, and they also sent out cultivators, and the rank 6 region was also dragged in. Even the rank 5 region was affected, and a catastrophe that swept across the Cloud Sea began. This matter was extremely fierce. Even after 18,000 years, Noble Money would tremble when thinking about this. In the end, this caused the rank 9 region that almost never interfered to finally step in. This matter was a bit disadvantageous for the Heaven-Breaking sect, and at this moment, the Heaven-Breaking sect split. A large amount of people in the heaven-breaking sect weren't willing to fight for these 3 items. They traded the pill and broken sword for their survival. They also maintained their original trajectory of moving to the rank 9 region. A small part of the heaven-breaking sect took the beast bone fragment and began a life-and-death battle with those that tried to steal them before disappearing into the long river of history. As for the beast bone with the pill recipe, it disappeared, and no one knew where it went. Some believed it was taken by the cultivators of the rank 9 region, and others believed that it was hidden among one of the rank 8 sects that fought against the heaven-breaking sect. In the end, this matter ended, and where the beast bone went remained a mystery. That was until 18,000 years later, when the Clear Flower sect found a clue. Whether this clue was true or false, it shocked the entire Clear Flower sect. They immediately locked down the information and even killed some of the disciples that knew of this matter. This matter was simply too shocking. If they were a bit careless, it would lead to the destruction of their sect. After all, the bloody lesson the heaven-breaking sect learned was enough to warn people. Compared to the heaven-breaking sect of the past, the Clear Flower sect was like an ant. They had no qualification to hold this beast bone fragment. Although they were greedy, they weren't intending on keeping it for themselves. They were hoping to find the beast bone fragment and then gift it to a powerful rank 8 sect in exchange for a large amount of benefits and long-term protection. They also hoped to use this to get help from the rank 8 sect to become the overlord of the rank 6 region. However, all of this would depend on whether this clue was true. If they only gave the clue to the rank 8 sect and it turned out to be false, then the Clear Flower sect couldn't afford the anger of the rank 8 sect. This was why they didn't dare to hand over a clue and went to check it themselves. However, if they wanted to check it, they would have to prevent any rumors from spreading so the other rank 6 sects wouldn't notice that something was wrong. Also, this clue led to a sect in the rank 3 region, so if a large amount of Clear Flower sect disciples moved, they would raise the suspicion of the other sects. This was the one thing the Clear Flower sect was worried about. In the end, they chose the dependable head disciple, Shi Luoxing, to take 19 disciples and secretly head to the rank 3 region. Shi Luoxing's cultivation level wasn't the highest in the rank 6 region, so him taking some disciples and leaving wouldn't cause too much attention. This was proven true when no unnecessary trouble occurred even after he reached the rank 3 region. However, Shi Luoxing didn't think that clue was true. He easily obtained the beast bone fragment and got a jade. However, just as he was on his way back to the Clear Flower sect, he was pursued by the 5 Poison sect. The other sects of the rank 6 region also learned of this matter. Shi Luoxing, you must hold on. Noble Money's origin energy was injected into the spirit beast below him. The spirit beast moved even faster as it pierced through layers of fog toward the wild continent. He was only leading the first batch of aid. Behind him, almost the entire Clear Flower sect had moved out. While they were rushing through the star fog, Noble Money's gaze narrowed as he saw a cultivator within the range of his divine sense. This cultivator was riding on a 1,000 feet black ape. Along the way here, this white-haired cultivator wasn't the first cultivator he had seen. However, this place wasn't far from the wild continent, so Noble Money couldn't help but pay attention. While he moved forward, his gaze was still locked onto the white-haired cultivator. Not only him, but the 10 or so Clear Flower sect disciples were all looking at the white-haired cultivator. These gazes seemed solid, and Wang Lin's face turned pale and revealed a shocking stare as he looked dumbfoundedly at the more than 10 rays of light. He stopped in the air as if he had forgotten how to fly. He knew that his cultivation was a bit strange and outsiders couldn't see through it right away, so it might cause some unnecessary suspicion. Thus, he kept his origin energy always active at the mid-stage of Nirvana Scrya. Noble Money withdrew his gaze. He was impatient to go to the wild continent. At first glance, he found nothing abnormal about this white-haired cultivator who was obviously shocked by their sudden appearance. According to the star map he had, there were several wild continents nearby. Looking at the white-haired cultivator's path, this person had obviously come from another wild continent. He longer paid any attention to Wang Lin. He then ordered his spirit beast to pass right by Wang Lin. The other disciples also withdrew their gazes as they passed by Wang Lin. Wang Lin was secretly relieved. He couldn't see through what sect they were from, but they were obviously cultivators from the rank 6 region. They were heading toward the wild continent. However, just at this moment, a ray of light broke through from the distance at an unimaginable speed. This light was bright, and Wang Lin clearly saw a jade inside. This was obviously someone sending a message, a jade. These spells were used within sects to transfer messages using jade that moved far faster than cultivators. They didn't have to worry about it being intercepted, because unless one knew the right seal, the jade would collapse immediately. In order to prevent any accidents, more than one jade was sent out at a time. This jade moved too fast and passed by Wang Lin in the blink of an eye. It landed in the hand of Noble Money, who hadn't gone far. Noble Money's expression changed, then his left hand formed a seal and he used a unique hand seal to check the jade. Once his divine sense entered the jade, his body trembled. This was a jade sent by the cultivators in the second wave. There was only one piece of information inside, and it stated that Shi Luoxing's life tablet had shattered. Shi Luoxing had died. Noble Money's expression became extremely gloomy and he mercilessly squeezed the jade. Then his gaze suddenly fell on Wang Lin. He didn't suspect Wang Lin, but now Shi Luoxing was dead, and they didn't know who killed him. Whether it was the 5 Poison sect or any of the other rank 6 sects, they were all targets of suspicion. This matter was of great importance, and Noble Money would rather kill 1,000 innocent people than let one get away. Take him to the wild continent. Noble Money pointed at Wang Lin and 8 of the disciples flew toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression changed. He stood up with respect but also just the right amount of panic. Fellow cultivators, what is the meaning of this? Don't make us act. Fellow cultivator, quickly, follow us. Among the 8 disciples, 6 of them were at the corporeal yang stage and 2 of them were at early stage of nirvana scrya. If they met Wang Lin under normal circumstances, they wouldn't dare to do this. After all, Wang Lin had higher cultivation level than them. However, with Elder Noble Money here and this being a great matter for their sect, they all became hostile. He couldn't go back to the wild continent with these people. Due to the black ape, all the fierce beasts on that wild continent firmly remembered Wang Lin. If Wang Lin went back, the fierce beasts would be set off. The agitation from the wild beasts would be a dead giveaway to anyone who was already suspicious. This would explain that Wang Lin was coming from this wild continent. Adding Shi Luoxing's death, even if the rank 6 sect found out that he was killed by the old woman from the 5 Poison sect, they would still cast great suspicion on Wang Lin. Once this suspicion appeared, they would search Wang Lin's storage space, and the tyrannical cultivators would directly search his soul. This would be a disaster for Wang Lin. His face was filled with an indignant expression. No one would find this suspicious. Anyone would feel indignant by this, but they'd still have to follow. However, just as the 8 core disciples closed in and Wang Lin ordered the black ape to move as if he was going to follow, killing intent flash in Wang Lin's eyes. He couldn't go back to the wild continent. Going back would mean death. Out of the 18 cultivators, the person leading was at the Nirvana Shatterer stage, but the highest cultivation level of the remaining 17 was only early stage Nirvana Cleanser. Once he attacked, he'd have to finish this in a short period of time. There were obviously more cultivators approaching, so he would have to finish in a short period of time. He also couldn't leave any survivors. Wang Lin raised his head and took a step forward as he waved his hand. Call the Wind appeared and turned into 5 dragons that charged at 5 of the surrounding people. At the same time, the black ape waved its arms and began its attack. Wang Lin moved like lightning and immediately arrived near the Nirvana Scryer cultivator. He was far faster than the Nirvana Scryer cultivator. The Nirvana Scryer cultivator's pupils shrank and he wanted to dodge, but soon his vision was covered by a finger. This finger quickly landed between the cultivator's eyebrows and left, leaving behind a bloody hole. The power of a Nirvana Cleanser cultivator rushed into the cultivator's body and crushed his origin soul. Wang Lin didn't pause at all and moved like water. After killing one, he charged into another one and pointed at that cultivator's body several times. Popping sounds came from that cultivator's body and blood sprayed everywhere. At this moment, the black dragons from Call the Wind had arrived on the 5 people. Those 5 were only at the corporeal yang stage, so they stood no chance against Baifan's spell. They weren't able to resist at all as the black dragons entered their bodies and then their bodies exploded. Along with them, the 2 killed by Wang Lin also exploded. The last person was hit by the black ape's fierce strikes and a miserable scream echoed. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. It was unbelievably fast. The 8 of them exploded almost at the same time, dyeing the area around Wang Lin red. Noble Money, who was moving away, suddenly turned around and was filled with shock. However, this shock quickly changed to ferociousness as he charged at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression was neutral but also bitter. His original body wasn't here, so unless he was forced to, why would he provoke a Nirvana Shatterer cultivator? However, he didn't have time to think, as he had already killed 8 people. Wang Lin quickly stepped forward. He had to kill everyone beside the Nirvana Shatterer cultivator as soon as possible. Otherwise, if one of them escaped, Wang Lin would find it difficult to move even an inch in the Cloud Sea Star system. However, the remaining 9 people, along with the Nirvana Shatterer cultivator, immediately realized this and scattered. Noble Money charged forward and shot out a ray of black light to stop Wang Lin from moving forward. Coldness flashed in Wang Lin's eyes as his right hand formed a seal and slaughter energy strands rushed out from his body. They condensed into layers of defense and Wang Lin rushed forth. As he rushed out, he felt like he was colliding with the universe, and the slaughter energy strands around Wang Lin all collapsed. The spells of a Nirvana Shatterer cultivator couldn't be underestimated. All the slaughter energy immediately dissipated and a powerful force rushed into Wang Lin's body, causing him to cough out a mouthful of blood. However, he charged out from the black light. As Noble Money closed in, he charged at the 9 people that were scattering. Flames appeared in his left eye and as he waved his left hand a sea of flames appeared. There were 3 people inside the sea of flames, and they immediately screamed and were burned to ashes. The remaining 6 turned pale and quickly retreated. Wang Lin's face was pale and he was about to give chase. However, just at this moment, Noble Money let out an angry roar and closed in. His right hand formed a seal and the black light turned into a black spear and closed in on Wang Lin. Seeing that the 6 people were about to scatter and Noble Money was closing in, Wang Lin's eyes became bloodshot. He knew that the cultivation level gap between him and Noble Money was too high. Once he stopped, he wouldn't be able to kill those 6 at all. The moment the spear closed in, Wang Lin opened his mouth and spat out the 18 Hell Celestial Sealing Stamp. The moment it appeared, it moved before his body and collided with the spear. With a bang, the Celestial Sealing Stamp smashed into Wang Lin, causing him to cough out blood. But it pushed him toward a person not far away. Wang Lin instantly waved his right hand and a ring of green light fell down on the cultivator's neck. The cultivator's pupils shrank as he lifted his hands and black light appeared to form a shield. However, as Wang Lin waved his hand, the black shield collapsed and both of the cultivator's arms exploded. Finally, the cultivator's head exploded and he died. There are 5 more. Wang Lin's right hand formed a seal and waved. Rain immediately appeared and the countless raindrops gathered from 5 crystal swords that shot at the remaining 5 Clear Flower Sect disciples. Just at this moment, Noble Money suddenly closed in. His right hand reached at the void and a storage space opened. A white whisk flew out, and Noble Money grabbed it and waved. A type of law suddenly appeared and turned into rays of white light above Wang Lin. These white lights rained down like swords and were simply too fast. Wang Lin suddenly looked up and flames flashed in his left eye, then a suit of crimson-red armor appeared around him. Popping sounds echoed as those white lights landed on Wang Lin's body. His body trembled and he coughed out even more blood. His face became pale and his origin soul dimmed. A ray of white light pierced his right leg, causing it to become a bloody mess. If not for the armor, he would have died. At this moment, the swords formed by Summon the Rain pierced through the bodies of the 5 escaping disciples. As their miserable screams echoed, 4 of their bodies collapsed and their origin souls perished. However, one of them took out a jade and broke it at the moment of danger. He was able to protect his origin soul and then quickly escaped. How could Wang Lin allow this person to escape? His right hand reached at the void and his storage space opened. A ray of sword energy shot out. It was Shu Ligua charging straight toward that origin soul. If you don't kill him, you can die. This was the first message Shu Ligua heard after appearing. After hearing this, how would he not chase like crazy? There was a flash of silver light from the storage space and the silver female corpse appeared. She didn't help attack Noble Money but went after the life beast spirits that had just lost their owners. All of this happened in a few breaths of time. Killing all the cultivators here beside Noble Money was difficult even for Wang Lin. However, he couldn't relax, as this Nirvana Shatterer cultivator before him was the biggest danger he had to face. The reason he wanted to kill the other cultivators first, aside from not wanting them to escape, was so they couldn't interfere in this fight. If he wanted to kill this Nirvana Shatterer cultivator, he'd have to be completely focused without the slightest disturbance. Only then would he have a sliver of chance. If my original body was here, killing this person would be easier than now. As Wang Lin spoke, his right hand pointed at the 18 Hell Celestial Sealing Stamp. There was a flash of light and the soul fragments charged out of the 18 layers of hell. The most powerful souls inside were Master Void and the one formed by the fusion of the All-Seer's two avatars. They were Wang Lin's aces, and the moment they appeared, a cold energy surrounded the area. Noble Money's expression turned extremely ugly. He didn't think that this white-haired youth would use such strong spells and kill all the core disciples in just a short period of time. And when his spells landed, he actually wasn't able to kill this person. What shocked him even more were the dead souls summoned by this cultivator's spell. 2 of the souls had auras that even made him feel dread. This revealed just how heaven-shattering their cultivation levels were when they were still alive. Even though they were only souls and therefore their strength couldn't compare to when they were alive, they still shocked Noble Money. Wang Lin pointed and Master Void and the All-Seer's soul charged out. However, this wasn't enough to end this battle quickly. If this were to drag on and aid arrived, Wang Lin would without a doubt die. His eyes were bloodshot as his right hand reached at the void. When Master Void and the All-Seer charged out, he took out the iron sword. The moment the iron sword appeared, the stars trembled, and even the surrounding fog churned. It was as if a powerful force had appeared and was pushing the star fog back. Pseudo-Nirvana Void. Noble Money's eyes narrowed. If the death souls from before just shocked him, then the appearance of this iron sword left him in disbelief. Intense greed filled his eyes as he rushed forward and his Nirvana Shatterer cultivation erupted. A Nirvana Shatterer cultivator was far more powerful than a Nirvana Cleaner cultivator, so this was a bitter struggle for Wang Lin. Not only did he have to win, he had to do it quick. Holding the rusted iron sword, Wang Lin retreated as Noble Money charged in. Wang Lin pointed with his left hand and the soul of Master Void and the All-Seer charged out. These 2 battle souls were Wang Lin's most powerful aces aside from the little remaining source origin he had. Along with this iron sword, he was giving it his all. After all, this wasn't like back in Qing Lin's cave, where he had the original body to be able to withstand all the attacks. He also had endless ancient god power that allowed him to launch a heaven-shaking attack with just a punch back then. Now there was no opportunity to use Sundered Night, and the shield had shattered when saving Qing Lin, so he couldn't use Dream of Ancient Times that the 8-star ancient god had left behind. At this moment, with only his cultivator avatar, it would be very difficult for Wang Lin to kill this cultivator. In particular, right now his right leg was a bloody mess as the white light from Noble Money had pierced through it. There was also origin energy that contained some kind of law raging inside his body. If not for the ancient god leather armor around his origin soul, it would have already collapsed. Fortunately, Wang Lin's body wasn't ordinary. After being refined in the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect, it contained the laws of fire and thunder. As a result, he was able to only be injured rather than die under Noble Money's spell. Wang Lin had experienced many dangers in his life as a cultivator, so he naturally knew the danger of Nirvana Shatterer cultivators. Wang Lin didn't have too much time to think about the danger before him. He had to quickly end this battle and attempt to kill this Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. With a point of his left hand, Master Void and the All-Seer charged at Noble Money. Facing those 2 powerful souls, even Noble Money was extremely cautious. In his entire cultivation life, He had never seen a Nirvana cleanser cultivator with spells that could threaten Nirvana shatterer cultivators. The All-Seer's soul almost seemed to have gone crazy and rapidly formed seals to send out spells. These spells were often blurry and not real, but they directed the law of the world toward noble money. There was also Master Void's soul. Due to the fact that he had reached his first Heaven's Blight before death, he waved his sleeves and a thunderstorm appeared to counter noble money's spell. If Wang Lin wasn't worried about time, then he could use Master Void and the All-Seer to grind noble money to death. However, Wang Lin didn't have the time or the celestial origin energy to sustain these two powerful souls. Magic Arsenal had consumed most of his celestial origin energy. As Master Void and the All-Seer were fighting with noble money, Wang Lin lifted his right hand and stared at the iron sword. He mercilessly slashed down and an earth-shattering ray of sword energy appeared. It turned into the illusion of a giant sword and slashed down on noble money. This didn't end here. Wang Lin closed his eyes and gave up control of the iron sword, letting the sword move itself. The iron sword moved as if Wang Lin's hand was glued to it, and another slash was sent out. Rays of light formed an arc through the fog, and each light represented a ray of sword energy. Each ray of sword energy consumed a large amount of origin energy from Wang Lin's body. The sword energy intertwined and looked like a flower. From afar, the curved sword energy rays continued to appear until they formed a flower made of swords before noble money. In the blink of an eye, 13 sword strokes fell. Wang Lin was moving his arm with his eyes closed as the sword moved on its own. An unexpectedly shocking aura appeared from Wang Lin, as if everything in the world would be destroyed by this sword. All of this happened in an instant. Noble money was being entangled by Master Void and the All-Seer. His hand kept forming seals and different spells shot out along with treasures, but his face was pale. Although he knew the iron sword was a Nirvana Void treasure, there was a difference in strength between Nirvana Void treasures. What he couldn't imagine was the power of the sword energy. At this moment, he obviously saw the sword energy around him, but he couldn't dodge. He let out a roar and tried to break free from the two souls holding him in place. However, just at this moment, Wang Lin opened his eyes. His face was pale as he pulled back the iron sword. He then chopped down 6 times in a row. There was a total of 19 strikes, and they took nearly 60% of Wang Lin's origin energy. Afterwards, he retreated. The illusion of 19 giant swords suddenly appeared around noble money. With Wang Lin's current strength, he could use more, but the consequences of using them were greater than Wang Lin expected, so he forcibly interrupted the iron sword. With his cultivation level, he could control the sword at 19 strikes, but after 19, he wouldn't be able to stop even if he wanted to. He would only be able to use it until he ran out of strength. Chop! Wang Lin shouted, and the 19 giant swords immediately fell. They linked into continuous sword strikes and charged straight at noble money. This was unimaginably fast. Noble money wasn't able to resist the 19 slashes from the Nirvana Void sword. A thunderous rumble echoed as the sword slashes penetrated noble money's body. His body trembled and was instantly split into 19 parts. Blood erupted everywhere. A miserable roar echoed at the same time as noble money's body collapsed. He was, after all, a Nirvana shatterer cultivator, so his origin soul escaped out from his head. He took that whisk treasure and quickly escaped. He was filled with unimaginable fear. He even had a feeling that this white-haired cultivator knew of the matter about the heaven-breaking sect. It was likely Shi Luoxing's death was related to this person. What sect is this person from to have such a powerful treasures? Could he be someone from the rank 8 region? Thinking about this, noble money was extremely shocked. His origin soul fled like crazy. He had to tell his sect about this. He also understood that the second wave of his sect would arrive soon, so he only needed to last a bit more. Wang Lin's face was pale. The moment noble money's origin soul escaped, a flame appeared in Wang Lin's left eye. A monstrous flame appeared around him, forming a sea of flames. If you looked closely, you would see that there were 9 layers of flames. 9 mysterious transformation. The moment the 9 layers of flame appeared, they rapidly contracted around Wang Lin. Wang Lin's body seemed to be burning as he took a step forward. His body disappeared with this step, and instead, a white vermilion bird several hundred feet wide appeared. This white vermilion bird was Wang Lin. With a wave of his wings, Wang Lin caught up to Noble Money with a trail of flames and smashed into Noble Money's origin soul. Noble Money's origin soul's pupils shrank and let out a scream. He felt death approaching, and at this moment, it was too late to think. Madness filled his eyes as his hand moved and a destructive aura came from his origin soul. At this moment of danger, he chose to self-destruct his origin soul, but at his cultivation level, he could control his self-destruction. His arms suddenly exploded into a storm and closed on in the vermilion bird. The whisk treasure he was holding also exploded into countless white lines that charged at the vermilion bird. However, this wasn't able to stop the vermilion bird before it collided with Noble Money. Flames surrounded Noble Money's origin soul. Miserable screams echoed as Noble Money's origin soul weakened. He desperately retreated while covered in flames and quickly escaped. As he escaped, his hands formed seals and mysterious runes appeared around him. The soul of a giant python appeared before him. The moment it appeared, Noble Money inhaled, causing the soul of the giant python to shrink and collapse in an instant. After absorbing the soul of his life beast spirit, Noble Money escaped like crazy without looking back. The vermilion bird disappeared and Wang Lin appeared. His chest was a bloody mess and white bones were visible. He stared at the escaping Noble Money, and the killing intent in his eye became even stronger. Allseer's soul, merge with my divine sense. Wang Lin didn't use the stop spell and instead formed a seal before pointing at the Allseer's soul. The soul's eyes flashed and turned into a ray of light that entered Wang Lin's body. Wang Lin's body trembled and his eyes suddenly became calm. This calmness made it seem like his gaze had seen through everything. Out of all the cultivators Wang Lin had met in his entire life, the Allseer was the only cultivator like this. After obtaining Qing Lin's fortune, Wang Lin gained head enlightenment about Bai Fan's spells. After reaching the limit of magic arsenal, he could make the soul fuse with him. Ignoring the escaping Noble Money, Wang Lin slowly closed his eyes. At the same time, he lifted his left hand and pointed at distance. In an instant, a storm appeared in the distance, and the fog churned violently as yellow ripples spread. At the center of the ripples, a huge palm suddenly appeared with its forefinger raised and rest of the fingers forming a fist. Heavenly Fate Finger. Wang Lin used his own power and the Allseer's soul as a guide. The Heavenly Fate Finger descended on the Cloud Sea Star system. It moved with unimaginable momentum and speed toward the escaping Noble Money. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't dodge the finger that eventually landed on his body. As the Heavenly Fate Finger replaced everything before Noble Money, his soul finally collapsed into specks of light. The Heavenly Fate Finger disappeared along with him. The surroundings were completely silent. From when Wang Lin first attacked until now, only a very short period of time had passed. Wang Lin took everything away and charged off into the distance. If my original body was here, this battle wouldn't have been so difficult. The 3 trials and 7 calamities. I don't know if the original body can successfully pass it. Wang Lin's right hand covered his chest. At this moment, countless white threads moved within his chest, giving off bursts of pain. There was a flash of coldness in his eyes as Wang Lin changed directions and disappeared into the horizon. 5 days later, when the continent of Mo Luo slowly appeared before his eyes, Wang Lin let out a breath of relief. He chose a direction after calculating where the cultivators would arrive from. He simply made a huge circle and was fortunate that he was able to successfully avoid any more conflicts. Wang Lin didn't know that shortly after he killed Noble Money, the death of Shi Luoxing was made known to the other sects. The space around that wild continent was immediately sealed tightly. The death of Noble Money shocked the Clear Flower sect. While sealing the area, they searched for the murderer like crazy, but by then Wang Lin was already far away. The cultivators from the Rank 6 region naturally found the corpse in the valley Shi Luoxing was in, and they all targeted the 5 Poison sect. Facing the fierce gazes of all the sects, the 5 Poison sect couldn't even explain. An undercurrent began to move in the Rank 5 region. After returning to the continent of Mo Luo, Wang Lin turned into a ray of light and headed toward the Origin sect. He knew that the rank 5 region was going to get chaotic. The rank 6 region cultivators would widen their search, and at that time, his identity in the origin sect would be very important. Wang Lin's return didn't cause too much attention in the origin sect. He instantly appeared in the southern courtyard. The moment he appeared, he saw Xu Yun sitting outside the house and her startled expression. Xu Yun was about to speak, but Wang Lin didn't pay attention to her and waved his sleeves. Large amounts of herbs appeared and soon formed a small mountain between them. "I'm returning your herbs." Wang Lin said one thing and then entered the house. Xu Yun looked at the herbs before her and gasped. With her insight, she could tell that many of these herbs were difficult to obtain, and their value was far beyond the worth of the herbs Wang Lin had consumed. She was startled for a long time before finally recovering her senses and letting out a breath of relief. After Wang Lin left, she was scolded by her teacher daily and was very worried. Her teacher had said that if Senior Seng Nyo didn't return, then when the Purple Dao sect arrived, she would be the one who brought ruin to the sect. Wang Lin sat inside the house with a serious gaze and pointed at his chest with his right hand. His face was still pale and he began to cultivate. Soon, flashes of white lines started being forced out of his body. These white lines twisted and looked extremely ferocious. Wang Lin's right hand quickly grabbed the white lines and dragged them out. Blood gushed out and dyed his clothes red. Staring at the white lines in his hand, coldness appeared in Wang Lin's eyes. He mercilessly squeezed them and they collapsed into dust. Wang Lin continued to cultivate and forced the white lines out of his body. He had spent all his time on the return journey on this, so there weren't many white lines remaining inside his body. On the third day after Wang Lin returned to the origin sect, he had forced all the white lines out. After crushing the last white line into dust, his eyes shined. His right hand reached at the void and his storage space appeared. The jade and the pill recipe on the beast bone flew out into his hand. Wang Lin took a deep breath. After obtaining them, he hadn't had any time to study them. Now that he could finally relax, he was about to study them. However, just at this moment, his eyes suddenly narrowed and he put the jade and beast bone away. In a flash, he disappeared and charged underground toward where his original body was. The trial. The ancient gods' 3 trials 7 calamities were like the cultivators' 5 heavens blights. It was a knife hanging above their heads. If they survived, their cultivation level would increase greatly, but if they failed, they'd die. The first trial had 2 calamities, and the second trial also had 2 calamities. The third trial has 3 calamities. The ancient gods' 3 trials 7 calamities were even more strange than cultivators' 5 heavens blights. According to Wang Lin's memories, the more powerful the ancient god, the later the trials and calamities would come. Although an ancient god would normally experience the first trial at 6 stars, some ancient gods experienced it at 7 stars. There was even a very small portion of ancient gods that faced their first trial at 8 stars. Tu Sai was one of them. He encountered the first trial at 8 stars and easily passed it. It increased his power greatly, and although he wasn't able to reach 9 stars, he was at the peak of 8 stars. If it wasn't for attempting to break through to the legendary 9-star stage, he wouldn't have risked cultivating the flowing ink transformation divine technique. As for the third trial and the final 3 calamities, they were the highest trial an ancient god would face. As for what they were, Tu Sai didn't know. Tu Sai's memories didn't contain anything about encountering the first trial at 5 stars. Every time Wang Lin thought about this, he wryly smiled. The early arrival of his first trial was related to his incomplete ancient god body and the fact that he had overused his ancient god power in the demon spirit land. All of this caused him to be the first ancient god to suffer the first trial at 5 stars. The trial that an 8-star ancient god had easily passed was like life and death for Wang Lin. One of the calamities of the first trial was the body calamity. Back in the Vermilion Bird Divine sect, Wang Lin's lower half was all bones. Now, after arriving at the Cloud Sea star system, this intensified, and everything from his chest and below were bones. This was merely the beginning, the arrival of the first calamity. The body would continue to decay until there was no flesh and blood left. Then the first calamity would end and the second one would begin. If there were no changes, his original body would without a doubt die. Fortunately, Wang Lin had obtained 2-size heartblood, so he had a fighting chance. The original body was sitting deep underground under the origin sect. There wasn't a trace of flesh or blood, only bones remained. There was a thin, blood-colored film wrapped around the bones. If you looked carefully, you would see a very tiny amount of blood moving between the film and bones. As Wang Lin's avatar closed in, his original body's eye sockets revealed ghostly lights as if he was awakening. He silently looked at his original body and sat down to protect it. He also put all his focus into his original body to help it share the pain. Time slowly passed, and in the blink of an eye, 3 days went by. In these 3 days, the original body's suffering intensified. The feeling of not having any flesh or blood but still retaining your sanity was enough to make people crazy. During these 3 days, the original body's size had expanded 10-fold. At this moment, under the origin sect, there was a 100-foot-tall skeleton calmly laying there. There were flashes of blood light as the blood under the film flowed faster. After another 3 days, Wang Lin's skeleton finished expanding and reached over 3,000 feet tall. The small amount of blood was still flowing through the bones, all of which were bigger than a person. However, the blood flow slowed down until it eventually dissipated. This blood was 2-size heart blood. During these days, the heart blood was being slowly absorbed by the original body's bones. When all the blood was absorbed, the first calamity ended. Just at this moment, the original body's eyes shined brightly as if his gaze could pierce through the earth and see the blue sky above. At the same time, a wave of crackling sounds echoed underground. Bone calamity. This crackling sound came from his original body's right foot. It was as if a giant hand was slowly crushing his huge right foot bone. His bones shattered and turned into ashes. Under this unimaginable pain, the original body was trembling. However, this crackling sounds didn't stop, they got even more intense. It was like thunder echoing underground. Every crack was a bone on the original body collapsing. Wang Lin's avatar's face was pale. He clenched his teeth as he shared the unimaginable pain with the original body. The veins on his face were swollen and large drops of sweat fell. The bone calamity descended ruthlessly like this. With the ancient gods' powerful vitality, even with no flesh or blood left, they could recover as long as there was a trace of vitality remaining. The first trial was vitality. After the vitality was erased, the bone calamity would arrive and attempt to destroy the bones that could no longer recover without the vitality. Once all the bones were destroyed, the result would be death. If his original body died, his avatar would perish. If he wanted to pass the bone calamity, he would have to reawaken his vitality to fight it until his bones reformed. The newly formed bones would be several times stronger than before. Magic treasures wouldn't be able to damage them at all. Therefore, even though the pain was worse than death, he still endured. Both his avatar and original body endured. He endured the pain of his bones fracturing and collapsing. He had to wait until the moment all his bones shattered to get the biggest gains. If not, even if he resisted and was successful, only some of the bones be reformed and the rest would stay the same as before. If that happened, he would have wasted this chance. However, Wang Lin understood that the longer he resisted, the lower the success rate. As more bones collapsed, the difficulty increased. In truth, ignoring those who went through this at 8 stars, almost all 7-star ancient gods would choose to wait for all their bones to collapse before they resisted. This was all so they could change this calamity into a great fortune. This idea was good, but it was rare that anyone actually lasted that long. Most of the time, when only a human fingernail-sized amount of bone remained, they couldn't help but begin to resist. As a result, that fingernail-sized bone would become the only flaw on the body of most ancient gods. Since 7-star ancient gods were like this, even fewer 6-star ancient gods were able to hold out until the last moment. The last moment was like the end of the path. There were countless steps forward if you succeeded, but if you took a step back, it meant death. Wang Lin's wasn't sure if he could last until the last moment. However, in order to reform his flesh and blood so he could become a true ancient god and not an incomplete one, Wang Lin decided to risk it all. My avatar is a heaven-defying cultivator, My original body is bloodline defying. I, Wang Lin, spent my life cultivating the word defy. I defy the heavens, defy the calamity, and even defy fate. A mere calamity isn't enough to stop my defying path. Wang Lin's avatar and original body shined, revealing unyielding gazes. There was no shout or roar, just that unyielding gaze was able to display Wang Lin's defying nature. It was invisible and heaven-shaking. Crackling sounds echoed loudly as his entire right leg had collapsed and even everything up to his knee on his left leg had turned to ashes. The sound of bones collapsing gradually transmitted to the surface. During this half a month, the entire continent of Mo Luo could hear the thunderous rumbles coming from the ground. At first it was faint, but it grew louder and louder. Now even the earth was trembling slightly. The mortals on the continent were terrified as they didn't know what was happening. They could only kneel and pray for the gods to not be angry. The cultivators of the Origin sect put a huge importance on this matter. They sent out almost the whole sect to investigate. These noises sounded like a roars, and every time it fell in their ears, they couldn't help but be shaken. Li Xiangdong and Lu Yanfei, along with the other two elders, floated in the air and looked at the earth. Due to their cultivation levels, they clearly felt where the roars were coming from. Li Xiangdong wanted to go down to check, but he was stopped by Lu Yanfei. However, now the roars were even more intense, almost heaven-shaking. If this was it, it wouldn't be an issue, but all the Origin energy on the continent began to stir as if there was an invisible vortex sucking in Origin energy from all directions. What terrified the four of them even more was that a large amount of Origin energy was gathering outside the continent. Although this Origin energy was outside, once it rushed in, the barrier around the continent would collapse instantly. Thinking about the consequences of this, the four of them would feel their scalps tingle. What shocked them even more were the fierce beasts that appeared in the fog outside the continent. For some reason, large amounts of fierce beasts were lured to the continent of Mo Luo. They all stared fiercely at the continent, but they also showed hesitation. They were going to charge in several times but were held off. It was as if there were something really attractive here for the fierce beasts, but rationality made them not dare to move. This resulted in hesitation. There were rank 5 and even rank 6 beasts among them. What terrified Li Xiangdong even more was that he even saw a rank 7 beast. A rank 7 beast was enough to battle a mid-stage Nirvana cleanser cultivator. Junior Sister Lu, I don't know why you stopped the three of us, but today we must go check. We must know exactly what is happening that is causing this unexpected surge in Origin energy and attracting all the fierce beasts that hide in the star fog. Li Xiangdong thought of the rank 7 beast and his mind trembled. He stared at Lu Yanfei with a very serious expression. The other two elders also silently looked at Lu Yanfei. Lu Yanfei bit her lower lip and silently nodded. This video will end here.